So, welcome to today's coaching clinic. Stop being stingy with yourself. I just thought this was a really important topic, especially because with many people that I've been talking to, it just occurred to me that we're just really good at being stingy with ourselves, whether it's about time, giving ourselves enough time, whether it's about following our wisdom to purchase something, whether it's about the food we put on our plate, or we're just really good at giving to other people first. And so I think that this is an important conversation for us to open up on today. And as always, I'd like to start with a grounding visualization. So if you want to, just get yourself comfortable, if you need to turn anything off, do that now. And just join with me. Just close your eyes here. Nobody's watching. Just close your eyes and just feel your feet firmly planted on the ground. And as we go through this vision, just let whatever arises arise without judging it and without needing to interpret it. You may get images, you may get a strong feeling, or you may hear words or language. And all of that, you won't lose it. You'll remember it. And at the end of the vision, you can write down whatever you need to write down. So I never know what the vision's going to look like until we're in it. So we're all in this together, and there is something about getting more and more comfortable with the unknown. And these visualization exercises, whether you're aware of it or not, are partly helping you to get more comfortable with just seeing what arises rather than being in charge of what ideas you come up with. So deep breath in and out. Feel those feet firmly planted on the floor. See roots coming from the feet down through the floor, into the ground, down to the underground, and all the way down to a rock at the bottom of the earth. Wrap those roots around that rock. This rock is the rock of your true nature. This rock emanates golden light and energy. See golden energy coming from the rock, up through the roots, through the underground, through the ground, up in and through the floorboards and through your feet. Now see this golden light and intend this golden light to travel up through your body at your own pace today. So gently push that golden light upwards. And if there's anywhere in your body that's feeling tight, uncomfortable, or in any sort of pain, be sure to add extra golden light there. I'll give you a couple of minutes to let the light envelope the body. This golden light is healing, clarifying, pure. And as it envelopes your whole body, just bask in it for a moment or two. Let yourself really feel the presence and groundedness of being in this moment with this light. Breathe in through the nose, 2, 3, 4. And breathe out through the nose or the mouth, 2, 3, 4. Now I want you to imagine in front of you a beautiful white picket fence. And by the picket fence, there's a little white gate. And I want you to open the white gate and step up onto a golden path. You're going to walk along this golden path. And as you do so, set your intention now for anything you want healing on, clarity on, to stop being stingy about, wisdom on, self-reliance on. Set your intention now for what you want to experience. And so you're walking along this golden path, and up ahead of you is a beautiful body of water, a lake, a pond, whatever feels correct. So walk towards that now and let yourself bask in the light. Let yourself feel the beauty of where you are. Let yourself be in this moment, breathing in through the nose and out. As you walk up to the body of water, just notice if anything is in the water, is on the water. Just have a look. And as you go around the lake or the pond, you see a bench. Let yourself go and take a seat on the bench. Let yourself be on the bench. Sitting there now with the water in front of you, the lake or the pond, whichever it is. You feel the sunlight belting down upon your face. You're totally relaxed. The tension in your body has melted away. And you take another deep breath in through the nose and out. In this moment, you have access to such evidence, such wisdom, that your only job is to listen, to feel, or to see. So ask yourself this question. Where can I be more generous with myself? What is my starting point for that generosity? Some of you might breathe a sigh of relief, having this knowing. Some of you might, like me, be smiling at the fact that you already knew you needed that, but now you've heard it or seen it. Our wisdom is rarely something that's coming to us out of the blue, like, you know, lose 50 pounds or else. Our wisdom is usually something gentle that we've known all along. Don't worry if you didn't hear anything or see anything, but ask yourself this question: where do I know I'm being stingy with myself? Now I want you to just gently stand up from the bench and walk towards the body of water. And you see your image reflected in the water, okay? Make a promise to yourself that you're going to follow the guidance that you've heard or felt or seen, or even have an inkling that that's what it could be. Look into your eyes as you're looking at the water and make that promise now. Now walk around the lake, back towards the golden path, and along that path until you reach the white picket gate. Open the gate and step down the steps back into this moment. Feel your feet firmly planted on the ground. See those roots coming from the feet down through the ground, the underground, right down to that rock at the bottom of the earth. And wrap those roots around that rock, perfectly solid, connected, here and now. Breathe in through the nose and out. In your own time, come back into this moment, this room. If you want to write anything down, if you want to record anything, do so now. So as I mentioned earlier in the meditation, in the visualization, that inner knowing, that wisdom, that voice of truth will rarely startle you with information. It won't suddenly say, divorce your husband. It'll just be a gentle experience of truth. And you want to get familiar with the flavor of that, because when you're familiar with the flavor of your own wisdom, then your life gets cleaned up, number one. And number two, there's an end to second guessing and the level of insecure noise that can seduce you. It's not that the insecurities won't be there, but you begin to really know the difference between the voice of wisdom and the voice of Bob, the drunk guy, as we call him. This insecure voice in your head that's always screaming obscenities and criticisms and judgments. And so the less tuned into him we are, and the more tuned into our wisdom we are, the more generous our life will be. The more connected we feel, the easier life gets, the richer life becomes. And so this whole notion of being stingy with ourselves falls away. Instead, we're just living life really beautifully guided and really fully. So when we're insecure about ourselves or money or the future, we're not necessarily hearing wisdom. But the feeling we live in lets us know that we're not necessarily hearing wisdom. The feeling of insecurity about money and yourself and your image and your future comes with a kind of tenseness and tightness and struggle, a worry. And as humans, we've become habituated to that feeling as if it's normal, but it's not. And some of my clients said to me, gosh, now when I feel insecure, Grace, it feels worse than it ever did. And I said to them, that's a good thing. That's supposed to happen. The reason it's meant to feel so damn awful is because you're not living like that anymore most of the time. And secondly, if you put your hand on a hot stove, you want it to burn you quickly, not 10 minutes later, because the damage 10 minutes later will be terrible. It's the same with your insecure thinking. When you're in it, you want to feel it kind of quickly so you can catch it and let it move on, rather than a slow burn that eats you up and is destroying your life in the process as you make errors and poor decisions and fall into regrets left, right, and center. So please don't ever worry if on this journey you begin to notice that the feeling of insecurity seems at times a bit louder or even more uncomfortable. That's actually a sign of well-being, because it's letting you know you just don't hang out there as much anymore. Of course, it's intolerant. It's a bit like if you stop eating chocolate for 2 years and then suddenly you start eating it. I mean, you're going to feel the effects. Or same with coffee, or same with alcohol. You're going to feel the effects quite quickly compared to someone who's just doing that regularly. So I'd love to just open it up for a minute. Does anybody want to share anything here? You know, like, where did you realize you were being stingy with yourself? If you want to share that, or any question that you have on for me so far, or any comment. Remember, in your sharing, not just my sharing, it's really a selfless act, because you're helping other people to hear and to clarify and to understand. So even if you just want to share where you realized you're being stingy with yourself, or where you now know you could be more generous with yourself, you know, just unmute your line. Come on.
Hi, Grace.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Fine, thank you. Prawinda can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I guess I just wanted to share what came to my mind is love and compassion for myself. Sometimes, like, something needs to be done and I kind of just go and do it no matter what, and just get on with it and get it done. But then you sit back and think, hang on a minute, like, you got it done, but where's the compassion and understanding as well?
Yeah, just kind of going through the motions. So is that getting stuff done in order to for the sake of productivity, or for the sake of pleasing others?
A mix.
Or mix?
Yeah, and sometimes like situations we can really go into not taking things personally, and we've worked, you know, on those aspects of ourselves, and how to we can navigate situations, which is good. But then, are you being compassionate and loving to yourself in those situations? Yeah, you can get the outcome of not taking it personally and dealing with the situation, but then yeah, just that aspect is interesting to reflect on, of the compassion, because, you know, that situation might still hurt, and whatever you've moved through might still have some emotion to it.
Yeah. So it sounds like you can be more generous with self-compassion. Is that what we're hearing?
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. And it strikes me that self-compassion for all of us is a natural setting as we fall out of the noise in our head that's judging us and criticizing us and putting a gun to our head and making us hurry up to get stuff done. You know, there's a level of natural compassion that emerges. So I'd really encourage all of us to look out for that, to just in our week, look out for the moments that a level of compassion arises in ourselves or for others. Because it really is a very good indicator that that bulb is getting turned down a bit more. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah, and I think part of what comes to my mind is just acknowledging, like, even if you deal with the situation and not take things personally, it's just acknowledging your emotions is compassionate, right? Just yeah, just acknowledging what the feeling and the process of that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, without paying too much attention to it as well.
Lovely. Thank you, Prawinda. Thanks for sharing.
Love you, Grace.
Thank you. You too. Anybody else want to come on, share, comment, question? Anybody up against yeah, but I need to be stingy with myself because ... I'm always amazed that we know when we're off. Like, we know when we're being stingy with ourselves or others. we know when we're off. We know when we're doing too much of something, and we know when we're doing too little of something. And that's really what this conversation is pointing to. That we have this built-in mechanism that is designed to let us know hot or cold, good or bad, as it were, on or off. And I don't mean that in a judgmental way, but rather in a way that if the default setting is well-being, which it is, we come in with well-being. If the default setting is well-being, there's a setting in us that also is constantly wanting to bring us back to that setting. Our job is to get familiar with the flavor of the guidance back to well-being. Sue, I see you have your hand up. Would you like to come on?
Hi, Grace.
Hi, yeah.
What I saw on the lake was a boat, and I found myself fishing, but it was frantic. It came from a place of shoulds and musts and have tos and all that sort of thing. And I realized at the moment that that's how I, in a sense, do my self-care, that it comes from a place of musts and shoulds, and then in the end it's full of activity. And then I just heard the words, cast your net out on the other side, and I thought, oh, there's universal wisdom that says completely effortlessly, just cast your net out that side and the fish will just appear. They'll come in, they'll be caught in the net. And that for me just accentuated the difference between self-care that's driven by the shoulds and the musts, and self-care that comes from universal wisdom, our own wisdom. Really powerful. Excuse me.
Wow. Yeah. Sue, thank you for sharing that. It is so powerful. That's helpful to everybody. Really helpful. And what comes to me as you were sharing that is that lovely story, that parable in the Bible of Jesus is teaching the disciples to fish as well, and they've been going out for days trying to get the fish and nothing's happening, and then he comes along and just kind of tells them to be calm, be still, be still, and suddenly they're able to cast the net in such a way that all the fish that possibly want are there. And so there's something about, whatever you're seeing there is so powerful for your own navigating, because self-care, I've always sort of thought, like, if it becomes something else you have to do in a busy day with a busy mind, there's nothing caring about it. And so I love that you can see that there is another way. There's the universal self, the self with a capital S. And it will be interesting to see what your wisdom brings you in terms of going forward this week with that net in a different direction. Yeah,
definitely. Thank you, Grace.
You're welcome. Thanks for sharing that. Oh, anybody else? Again, I just want to remind us all that Wisdom isn't stingy. It's very rich. It's also simple. There are going to be areas of life where we are just feeling like we're not tuned in that area. And those tend to be the areas that look a bit messy. Oh, well, I've got wisdom over here in my business and in my relationship and in my bank account. I know I've got wisdom when it comes to spending. I've got wisdom when it comes to running a business, but I don't have any wisdom over here when it comes to what's in the fridge. And I just seem to tune out over there. Well, that's not true. It's not that wisdom isn't available where the body is concerned, that wisdom isn't available where the diet is concerned. It's not that wisdom isn't available where money is concerned. It's just there are certain areas that we just have more on it. We kind of hold a gun to our head about it. And so it looks like we just don't, we don't have common sense there, which we do. If the default setting is always well-being, you can trust that your wisdom will be pointing you back to whatever's going to get you into well-being. And that could be a nap in the afternoon. That could be, don't buy that. Or it could be, take part in that. Just yesterday, I came across a podcast and I was listening to it because a friend sent it to me and it was lovely. And it suddenly occurred to me, I need something like that right now. I wonder, is there more available? And I went and had a look and then I saw, well, there was more available, but the doors were closed on it. And then I decided, well, I'm going to write to the person in charge and ask them, is it a no-go or can I get through the door? And within an hour, I had access to something that my wisdom was guiding me to strongly. Now, I could talk myself out of it, if I wanted to. Oh, well, the doors are closed on that and I can't afford it anyway. Or, well, I already know all this stuff. What's the point? But see, I know the flavor of that bullshit versus the flavor of, God, I need something like that right now, which is just simple common sense. Just like, when you're hungry or when you're thirsty, when you need something and when you don't. Now, there are also areas where we override that, and that's okay too. There are areas where I'm a little bit too generous with myself. I know I don't need the extra 3 glasses of wine. I know I don't need the extra 300 grams of pasta or truffle or whatever else. But I enjoy it. And so there's also a level of you can tune out if you want to. And there will probably be consequences to it, even if it's just that you feel crap the next day, or that, oh dear, you did spend all your money in Prada. So, you got to work a little bit harder this month or next month or whenever. You can tune out of it. But don't be fooled that it's not there guiding you. Oh, a little bit hot this way. Oh, a little bit cold that way. And so being stingy with ourselves, and maybe let's also open the conversation to being over generous with ourselves, are still two sides of a coin that we want to just learn to recognize the flavor. If the default setting is well-being, we want to keep coming back to that. And the voice in our head, my dog's just getting up now out of bed. The voice in our head is either screaming obscenities and scaring the life out of us, or is letting us know too much, too little. Try this, try that. Love to hear from you. I'm going to get him down the stairs. In the meantime, if you have a question, now's the time to think about it. Any question, any comment? I'm just going to get my little dog downstairs. Oh, there's an element to, oh.
Hi, Grace.
Hi.
It's Lillian.
Lillian, good to see you.
I liked what you said about self-care isn't self-care with a busy mind. And yeah, it just makes me think about my clients who have busy minds, and people who I see priding themselves on doing self-care, but it's all the physical and none about the mental. And that's an important thing to remember, that self-care is a holistic approach. It's not even just about the physical being, you know, it's our environment as well, where we're living, because we can go out to spas and whatever and do your quote unquote self-care, but you come home and your room is cluttered. You know, that's not great for your mental well-being. So yeah, I just wanted to say that I liked what you said. I'm going to definitely say that to my client. I could feel a post coming on with that. So.
Good. Oh, that's wonderful, Lillian. That's I love it when we're hearing something and then we get an idea, and then yes, you're all here for yourselves, but don't be fooled. You're here also for your clients and your husbands and your children and your family and your friends. So it's really good when something emerges. And we probably had this conversation before, Lillian, you know, this self-care with a capital S versus a small s. Where, as it looks to me now, is more about being so connected to that divine self that self-care practices become irrelevant or unnecessary. You know, like I'm thinking back to when I was first starting out in my business. And I mean, when I think of the difference between now and then, I was going at the speed of light. I was living in a very fast and urgent experience of life. That was just my norm. And I seemed to need a lot of self-care. Like I remember I found myself going to the chiropractor 2 or 3 times a week. And at some point I was like, this isn't right. I didn't leave my day job and all my burnout to then be having to run a business whereby I'm still having to go to doctors 3 times a week. Again, you know, the wisdom was there. Hang on, there's something off about this. And that then led on to an exploration on, you know, well, what is the relationship between my mind and these physical symptoms in my body? But more deeply than that, it led to an inquiry of this self with a capital S, this connection to our divine heritage, who really, like, self-care practices become optional, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I would say,
and enjoyable. Go ahead.
I would say what we see as self-care out there, you know, in the mainstream, is the external, people using external stuff to deal with external symptoms. Whereas I think what you're saying, and also my approach, is the connection within, yes, to connection to the capital S, which is where the self-care truly is in its essence. Because as you said, you know, once you started to connect within your mind and body, you found you didn't need the external self-care applications. And I see that with my clients as well, when I take them on that experience of connecting within themselves to find their own wisdom and connect within, that they realize they don't need what they were depending on to get them through the week or to get them through the day. And yeah, it's about, yeah, that's where the gold is. And I can definitely feel a post coming on. I'm going to do a video, actually.
Good. We need more people like you, Lillian, that are coaching and teaching and helping others from this other level of self-care. You know, there's not enough people doing that work that's pointing people back to the well-being setting without getting them hooked on a certain diet plan or a certain exercise regime or 36 different supplements. So, you know, good, go post, let us know how it goes.
Yeah, thanks, Grace.
To that. You're so welcome. Good to see you, honey. So let's see, somebody in the chat box asked a question. Oh, thank you. That's from Linda. Oh, thank you, Linda. Love listening to you, Grace. So I never really know what I'm saying, so sometimes it might come across a bit gibberish. But today I had a little siesta, so sometimes it's a little bit more fluid. Anybody else with a question or a comment, anything you want me to talk more deeply about? We got a couple of minutes. I won't drag on time. If you're feeling full, we'll stop. Oh, Mojo, I love it. Please come on.
Hi, Grace. It's actually Giovanna, but under a different name, bizarrely.
Hi, Giovanna.
Hello, hi. Thanks for the session today. I just wanted to comment that it kind of brought to me sort of allowing myself to sit in that space and to kind of go into that space more of where the answers are, and just allowing myself to go there rather than relying on myself or my brain to work it all out, to come up with all the answers, worrying and fretting, where I suppose because it's not so tangible, and also when you're in a state of worry and fear, you kind of almost want the answer now. And it's when through the meditation, I kind of received messages that was inviting me more into that space and allowing it to envelop me and to bask in the light and spaciousness and creativity and what would show up as a solution to the problem. So it was more of an invitation really to allow myself to just relax and trust that space of, and it would always have an answer for me. So that was what was coming up for me there.
I love that. Yeah. And you know, it is exactly as you said, Giovanna. It's trusting that space. It's also making a bit of space to hear that space. And when we are urgent, we want the answer now, it's not that the answer isn't available, it's just we have more on it. And there can be a level of distraction or second guessing. Oh, it can't be that. Or, you know, but again, as you make space to be in this space of your own wisdom, you get, the flavor gets stronger and stronger and stronger. So you're less and less hesitant about the answer. And you're also more likely to hear the answer, actually.
Mm.
I had the strangest thing when Francesco died, where, I mean, for weeks, maybe like 2 months. No, maybe that was a bit much, maybe 6 weeks. It was like I had access to all of this knowing that I can't even describe it today. It was like I knew absolutely everything and before it was about to happen. And then looking back on life, I was like, Jesus, I was right. I was right about that. I was right about this. Oh my God, I can't believe I second guessed that and I second guessed this. Everything became so clear, and I realized, my God, Grace, you are far more intuitive than you've ever given yourself credit for. Now, that's not unique to me, and it doesn't take someone to die to experience that. Okay, that's in all of us. As we drop out of noisy, judgmental, critical, worried thinking, and the place I was living in was love, I was no longer in this state of worry, fear, judgment, and criticism. That all fell away. Who knew that was possible when the love of your life dies? But it is. That all fell away, and I had direct access to complete and utter knowing. So I think we all do ourselves an act of self-care with a capital S to make room for this knowing more, to get familiar with the feeling of our knowing more, to ignore Bob and dial down his dialogue more, simply by, in the initial stages, ignoring him, and in the later stages, just point blank blanking him. But it's a journey. It just doesn't happen overnight. So Giovanna, I don't know where that went, sorry, but I hope that was helpful.
No, it's great, actually. Thank you. It was really insightful when you said that it has a certain flavor and a feel. Yeah, because when I'm trying to work it out myself, it just feels that there's a lot of efforting, a lot of maybe manipulation about how things are, how I want things to go, and controlling and to get a certain outcome, when there are so many different variables at play that are going to affect the outcome that I can't possibly keep on control of every single thing. And, you know, that in itself has made me realize that it just doesn't feel right, you know, this kind of situation. And so it's kind of like hands off, going back to that space of allowing, and just like you said, trusting and allowing space for that when the noise dies down. So yeah, it's like I can see what you're saying. It's true.
Yeah, have patience, be with it, and yes, let life invite you rather than, like you said, having to control it or take charge of it. Yeah. Thank you for your question.
Thanks, Grace.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. Is there a final comment or question? Otherwise, I will close here and take my dog for a walk. I do want to let you all know that fabulous workshop coming up this weekend. If you'd like to join me and my mastermind partner, Dominic Scafidi. Dominic is an amazing coach, and he is very grounded in the teachings of Abraham Hicks. We're both grounded together in the principles, but we both have a love of not just wanting to get a quiet mind, but actually wanting to create in the world from that place. So this weekend, we are going to talk about and explore coming alive with joy. If you want details for that, just private message me or email me. Coming Alive with Joy. It's happening Saturday and Sunday. And yeah, we'll see you there. I think we have about 4 or 5 spaces remaining. So get in touch if you want more info. And coaching clinic will resume again next Tuesday. Keep an eye out for the time change that's going on. And I hope this has been helpful today. Lots of love, everybody. Have a good week. Stop being stingy with yourself and look out for the flavor of wisdom. Bye.
Thanks, Grace.
Bye.
Bye.
Everybody. Ciao.
Thanks, Grace.
Thanks. Bye.